Funny story about this video. We had a watcher of the channel leave a comment, because we always say in all of our videos, like, hey, this is one we did on this artist or whatever else. Like, let us know if you like this series and other artists you'd like us to do in the series. And we had a person comment on one of our videos and say, hey, you guys should do a 5 songs to start with, because I don't think we've ever covered Duran Duran. And I was like, wow, because we have over 1,000 videos on the channel now. So now we're getting to the point sometimes where I'm like, wait, did we do
Did we do it?
Yeah.
Did
So,
we do it?
but I looked and we didn't do it. Now, what's funny is I didn't tell Lauren that. And when it came time for us to have a new set of topic videos that we were going to do, we both did this one without talking to the other one. But I did it first. So we're going with my list, but maybe in the future we'll reach back, or Lauren can do a hidden gems on Duran Duran or something along those lines.
We'll hit Duran Duran again.
Right, yeah. So here today, I'm going to share with you 5 songs to start with from Duran Duran. Now, if you're not familiar with the series, this is where if aliens came down to planet Earth and said the future of your race depends on us knowing what Duran Duran sounds like, here's the first 5 songs I would tell them to listen to. Or if someone said to me, hey, Duran Duran's way before my time, what should I listen to get into them? That type of thing. These are my 5 picks. For me, this series is one of those things that's not definite. This is not a, you must only pick these. I would love to hear from you and say, I agree with this one, but not that one. Like, I would tell someone this instead. So having said that, the very first song that I would tell anybody to listen to by Duran Duran to even get an idea of what they're about, and I almost don't need the other 4, in my opinion, is There Something I Should Know? And to me, this is if you're talking about early Duran Duran, this is everything they do right, all in one track. What's interesting though is I always put the album artwork up here for what it's from. So what's interesting is the song was released as a standalone track in the first place, because when I was a kid, I remember it being a big hit, but I was like, why can't I remember what album this is from? Later reissues of their first album, it got tacked on, but it was released as its own single. Now, to further muddy waters, I think the version on their live album Arena is the version that you should play for anybody, which is different from the studio version. But so you can excuse me, in today's day and age of streaming, you can just go streaming and type Duran Duran, is there something I should know? But for people like me that are music nerds and they're like, I need to know where it's from, that I always kind of look it up and see where it's from. So regardless of where the song was originally released, in what country, on what album, I would tell you to skip all of that and go to the version on Arena. Anyways, the live album. I think it's the first song on it too. The next one is the title track from the album Notorious. Now, to me, this is where a lot of people feel like Duran Duran was around for the first couple of years of the 80s and then disappeared, and then became more of an alternative type band with Ordinary World. Which is not entirely true. Like all things in some corners of the world, sure, they were more popular than in others, but whatever. I don't think Notorious, to me, doesn't sound like early Duran Duran. It's got a lot more R&B flair to it.
Yeah, you're right.
It certainly doesn't sound like their later material would, in my opinion, and it's going to be featured on this this list later, but Ordinary World doesn't sound like that, but I think it sounds a far cry from their original stuff. I mean, there's still synths involved, there's still a lot of real poppy bass, but you're always going to get that in Duran Duran.
Yeah, oh, for sure, absolutely. And I'll tell you this much, my intro to Duran Duran was that Duran Duran Greatest Hits with the white cover and the purple lettering on it that everybody does, and so I have a hard time placing Duran Duran in time.
Right, because what you heard first was a collection of everything. Sure.
Right. That being said, I definitely can tell that there are different styles happening, little pockets of stuff. And so yes, I absolutely get what you're saying, because that Greatest Hits album is fantastic, but it wild swings.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I think is a testament to them. For me, this song, and I used to have it. I don't have it anymore. There was a Duran Duran 10-inch live from Tower Records or something that was a record store day piece years ago. And in the middle of the acoustic version of Notorious, they do a little of Connected by the Stereo MCs.
Oh, right on.
And they do a little of Sexy MF by Prince. A very little bit of it. But to me, that just shows how versatile. You couldn't do that in the middle of other early Duran Duran songs. The next one is one of my favorite early Duran Duran songs. And again, this to me is up there with Is There Something I Should Know, as far as things that universally show what Duran Duran is good. It's just the same year, all that gets stuck in my head. Duran,
I know. And you've also got I was just going to say that you also have a hairy predator in the title.
Yeah, that's true. Hungry Like the Wolf. And again, now this to me is much the opposite of Notorious. This is what Def Leppard sounds like in the early 80s.
This is what Duran Duran sounds like.
Did I say
80s.
Def Leppard again? Holy cow! Why? What? Anyways, this song "Hungry Like the Wolf" is exactly what Duran Duran sounds like in the early 80s to me. Like some folks might have said Rio, like this is from the album Rio. And there's other songs that I can think of that are good examples, but just everything that Duran Duran does right. Hey, look, I said Duran Duran does right. And to me, their entire early 80s sound is encapsulated by this song.
I get that. And full disclosure, when we both accidentally did this list, we did have quite a bit of overlap, but I said Rio, you said Hungry Like the Wolf. And
that's a coin toss too,
yep,
in my opinion. Now we're going to go forward in time for a couple of different things. One is the big, huge hit that most people I think would refer to as a comeback hit from '93, Ordinary World. This is a song that the first couple of times I heard it, I didn't have any idea was Duran Duran.
Oh.
Like, I would argue that it is levels above a lot of the, I don't want to say this is a grunge song, but the alternative ballads that were out at the time, I think this is levels above that. And one of the reasons why is because there was a lot of, in my opinion, with grunge and alternative, there was a lot of like taking metaphors too far, a lot of like waxing poetic too much, and like I don't get what Lane Staley's singing about. Oh well, that's because he's really deep. Well, I don't know, or maybe it's just gibberish in some songs. You know what I mean? And I felt like Duran Duran, what they did was they were like, okay, this is what we sound like right now, but this is still a very universal message in the song. Like there's no like, to me, it showed that it was still okay to go, this is a straightforward song. There's no like getting out a thesaurus or a rhyming dictionary to be like, well, what's the most unique word I can use here? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying anybody else did that in that era, but like a lot of it feels like they did. Like I'm a huge fan of the band live, and I know Ed Kowalczyk was just like, I'm going to make this as cryptic as possible, you know? And I think Eddie Vedder did. Eddie Vedder's on record as saying that he did that on a lot of Pearl Jam stuff. Not the thesaurus part, but like making things cryptic on purpose. And to me, this is just Simon Le Bon and Duran Duran being like, here's a pretty straightforward, like lamenting song and we don't have to like disguise it behind a bunch of what the genre is known for.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I mean, it's Duran Duran doing Duran Duran things. Yeah. Nobody questions what Hungry Like the Wolf means.
No.
But what I'm getting at lyrically, it sounds like an evolution, but lyrically, it's like, no, this is what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a beautiful song.
Yes.
Personally, I like the longer version. Like I don't come down too much on radio edits, especially when they're like cutting parts of intros or outros. And I'm like, okay, well, I get, taking that time back. But with this one, I always like the longer version anyways. It's just got nicer, it lets the song breathe a little bit more. Now, the last one that I'm including, and this is far from the most recent material that Duran has done, but way later in the early 2000s, they put out a great record that this is one of those ones where I thought it was going to be a much bigger hit than it was. It was a hit, but it wasn't like as big as I thought it was going to be. But they have an album called Astronaut, and the first single off is called Reach Up for the Sunrise. And this to me is if you put a person in a time machine in 1982 and said, hey, let's go way forward to the early 2000s to see what Duran Duran sounds like this, they would hope that this is what they were going to sound like.
That makes all the sense in the world.
And this song to me, you could play this for someone and then go back and play Is There Something I Should Know? And they would know for sure that it's the same band. Like there wouldn't be any.
No question.
You wouldn't say, I don't even think you would say like, oh, did 30 years pass? Like, you know what I mean? I think people would just be like, yep, that sounds like that band.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And without sounding forced, I talk about that a lot on the channel. There's a lot of artists that I love that I will get their new record, and instead of doing any sort of growth, to me, it sounds like they're like, hey, let's do that thing again that people love us doing, And I don't like that. And to me, the later Duran Duran material doesn't sound forced. And they've released a lot of stuff since this, but this is the one that I would say like somebody, if I was going to say like, okay, and they're still going, this is the one I would go, here's a good example of their later stuff.
Sure.
So those are the first 5 songs I would tell you to listen to by Duran Duran if you'd never heard them before. I threw some Def Leppard shout outs in there for no reason whatsoever.
Why not?
But leave a comment and let us know what the first 5 songs you would pick to have someone listen to by Duran Duran. Arcade material doesn't count. Power Station material doesn't count. And neither does the song View to a Kill because that's by Simon Le Bon. But if you have stuff with all the members of Duran Duran on it, by all means, drop a comment. Let us know what those songs might be that you would tell someone to listen to. If you have a suggestion for artists too, that, for us to take care of, drop that, and we'll.
Maybe we should do Def Leppard.
Yeah, I know. I don't think we have. Yeah, so maybe that's a
the
sign.
universe telling you.
Yeah. So that is Lauren. My name is Russ. Thank you so much for watching.